Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Please be seated. And we hope while you've been waiting for us, you've had an opportunity to read our acknowledgement to our friends and neighbors and to enjoy that beautiful art. And just as I call the meeting to order, and with the indulgence of council, we have a little presentation this evening to two friends of ours from the Rotary. Kevin, do you want to come forward and say a few words about the beautiful art that everyone saw walking in this evening? Is she out there? Can she find her way in? Okay. Come on, Karen Harrison, come up here, take a moment and tell everybody about this wonderful thing the Rotary Club is doing for our community.
Well, thank you, Mayor. This is my co-Rotarian, my Rotarian friend Kevin. The paintings are on display, and I hope the council will have a chance. We'll leave them up till after the meeting to look at it. But we're here to kick off a project that blends art, history, and community, and to benefit the District of West Vancouver. And what this is a legacy art collection that's been donated to our Rotary Club by the widow of an artist who painted a whole lot of West Van scenes. And you'll see them out here. And we're just starting with this, and we appreciate Sharon and Mark's support in this. We're going to be selling these paintings, and we'll stay tuned. We'll let you know what's happening with them. So they're iconic scenes, and I know a lot of people have been seeing them as you walked in, so I hope the council will take a...
I know, we got quite a crowd this evening.
Well, they didn't come to see us.
No, I don't think they did.
Anyway, we will be letting you know where they'll be on display and where you can see them online and bid on them. And at the middle of May, we'll be having an event around them. So thank you for your support of that. They're very exciting, and it's a windfall for our Rotary Club, and it'll be arts helping arts. We're going to pick a beneficiary in the arts and culture area to give the funds from.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
You guys had some excellent ideas on that regard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us.
So I'll ask Councillor Snyder to approve the agenda, but I'm wondering if a lot of people came out this evening on item number 8, and that was to do with the pickleball. And I should just let everyone know at the outset, I've pulled that item off the agenda, and I'm sorry if you didn't get that notice. We did try to circulate it to the council. Did receive a lot of very thoughtful emails, some very constructive suggestions, and I'd ask everyone to understand that our staff are always being asked to find ways to increase revenue, to help us improve and fix facilities. Not every idea works, but ideas get floated, and as a result of that, often some very good suggestions come out. So we have pulled that item from tonight's agenda, and there really is not a lot of desire to move forward with that. Councillor Snyder.
Yeah, so just to clarify though, it's not the pickleball update is not what's being pulled. It is the proposed fees for the sports court booking fees that's being pulled from the agenda.
So if anybody's concerned that we're going to start charging for pickleball, which we all understand is a very spontaneous sport, that's not going to happen. So, or tennis. There we go. Yeah. And we do appreciate how passionate people are over this sport. No, honestly, it's wonderful. And you will see on tonight's agenda, council is considering the installation of 4 more pickleball courts. And, it's a good thing. So with that, Councillor Snyder, could I ask? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Councillor Gambioli, did you want to add a comment?
My only comment was that, as you say, we did get a lot of feedback and some very thoughtful information and suggestions from people. So I would really like to see the staff be able to have some time to take a look at all of that feedback and also run it through the Pickleball Roundtable group and, maybe use some of those suggestions for moving forward with, some adjustments or et cetera in the future.
We are certainly
not just
interested
the
in.
pickleball roundtable groups, the other groups, which include the tennis groups as well.
We are very interested in finding ways to improve the facilities. So if anybody has any suggestions on ways we can do things better, please let us know. Councillor Snyder, a motion to approve the
Yes.
agenda?
I'd like to recommend that the March 10th, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you, Councillor
Sorry,
Cassidy.
sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor Sager, may I just interrupt? I understand that the item 8 is going to be withdrawn, so we're going to approve the agenda as amended with withdrawing
Yes.
item 8.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
that's right. Question, all in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you. And now we have a presentation from the Canadian Congress of Canada. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Sagar, council members, and distinguished guests. My name is Dawood Ghavami, and I'm here on behalf of the Iranian Canadian Congress of Canada to discuss the 30th annual presentation, Persian Fire Festival at the Ambleside Park, West Vancouver. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to appear before the Council to highlight the cultural significance of this event, address logistic challenges, and request your support to ensure the festival's continued success. To provide comprehensive overview, we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation, which we kindly request the permission to display during our delegation. Thank you very much. Thank you. The Nowruz Fire Festival, or Charshambe Suri, or Persian Fire Festival, is a centuries-old tradition that marks the arrival of Nowruz, Persian New Year. It is celebration of light, renewal, and community gathering, bringing together thousands of attendants each year in a spirit of inclusivity and cultural appreciation. West Vancouver has been home to this event for 30 years, making it one of the most significant and cherished cultural festivals in region. So these are the picture you can see. That's a bonfire in Ambleside Park. It's been prepared by the fire department and District of West Vancouver, which is really appreciated. And those bonfire is very safe since the district involved, and provide the opportunity for the public, particularly for the children, to get familiar with their own tradition and the cultural celebration. So there is some tradition involved on this. It's a three row, each row is 5 or 7, and people line up in Ambleside Park by this bonfire, and of course it's been secured by the security police and our security group and volunteer to lead the people toward the right direction. As you see, the fire department involvement and the volunteer actually providing safe environment for the attendees. So the family line up all over the places, of course, in a safe and secure environment to utilize the facilities being provided by the city, by the district, and of course, it's been secured by the ICC. So these are the very significant event because the family will have the chances to provide the opportunity and educate their own children with the tradition and the culture of the Persian Fire Festival. This indicates, since we have a few of those, not from 30 years, but since 2009, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, And thousands of people every year gather in Ambleside Park to celebrate this Persian Fire Festival. And we really appreciate of the collaboration of the District of West Vancouver, and particularly our mayor here. So on December 12th, we had a meeting with Mayor Sagar in District of West Vancouver to discuss about this year coming event, which is on March 18th, and seeking some support from the city and particularly from the mayor. And we had a wonderful support and collaboration by mayor. And the one you see here as a like frame, that's a photo and a picture. I leave to mayor to discuss what is this for.
Should I go and get it?
The one you have, that's right.
I have it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, this is it's called Poem by is a poem by a very well-known Persian poem. It's called "Human Being is the Same Essence," but it's go on and on. But it's been drafted perfectly, and we had a little gift by the ICC and the community to District of West Vancouver, particularly to our mayor. And these are our delegation from all walk of life, but most of them, they are residing in West Vancouver, of course. And they are businessmen, they are, well, of course, social activists and political activists as well. So the key issue and request for council, most of them has been granted. We had 4 requests from the council and, of course, the mayor. 3 of them is already granted, but I'm just going to read it over and everyone knows what happened. 1, venue space extension. Due to ongoing construction at Ambleside Park, the available event space has been significantly reduced. To ensure the safety and comfort of the attendee, we request the extension of the current venue boundaries to accommodate the anticipated crowd effectively. This has been granted and is done. Well, thank you, Mayor. Site improvement. Section of the event site become muddy and difficult to navigate, posing safety hazards to the attendees. We respectfully request the addition of gravel to improve accessibility and enhance the festival experience. This is also, fortunately, has been granted.
I should also
Looked
say,
after.
I think all the people that enjoy pickleball
That's
will
right.
also be happy that that parking lot is getting improved.
Oh.
But this gentleman did remind us that we needed to do that. And Ms. Kettler,
We
do
had
you
a
know when
report
it's going to be
actually from
done?
the,
We have scheduled it, I believe,
Through you to the mayor, it's being done this week.
this week.
yeah. So Mr. Mohammadi actually had a report for the ICC, and he had chances to visit the park, and he said, well, they are still working on it, but it's looked like it's been looked after. Well, thank you very much. Lifting restriction on international artists. For the last 2 years, the restriction imposed on ICC's activities in Ambleside Park impacted our activities, particularly for fundraising. So this year, the Mayor Sagar collaboration actually lift this restriction. Now we have one of the best artists from Persian community. It's called Mortaza. Probably you all have seen before, but he will be here this year as well. And I'm just trying to reiterate one. The third one also has been granted and has been looked after by our mayor. Thank you very much. Commitment to public safety. We recognize that public safety is of utmost importance and have consistently prioritized security at this event. To maintain a safe and well-managed festival, we have implemented a 3-tiered security system, which includes 1, West Vancouver Police Department officers, 2, Synergy Security Group personnel, and 3, hundreds of trained volunteers. This volunteers comes all walk of life, not just a Persian. Student, university student, high school student in grade 12, and mass public. This effort have ensured that the Nowruz Fire Festival or Persian Fire Festival remain a safe family event for all attendants. If you look at those pictures here, which indicates for the last year, probably a few years ago, this part of the very major issue we are always dealing with. Our financial and revenue have been provided by two major sources. One is a sponsor, which is, you see, the REMAX comes and provide 10, not the money, or probably those, a booth rental or a sponsorship, we receive some revenue. And the second one is those $10 we receive as a donation from the public. Those who are attending to jump over the fire is called the fire jumping. These two major revenue actually covers all expenses, which still I have to appreciate personally Mayor Sagar this year cooperation. And again, this actually indicates the police involvement, security involvement to secure the safe and secure environment. One thing I like to mention here, for the last 30 years, we haven't had any significant major issue or safety issue in Ambleside Park in the Persian Fire Festival. That clearly indicates the cooperation between all people who are involved, all stakeholders, like District of West Vancouver, ICC itself, the public, and the safe fire department, police department, bylaw department, all of those actually made the safe environment.
Excuse me, sir, I apologize for the interruption. Just to note that you have gone past your 10 minutes. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm done. Thanks.
Well,
Thank you. So if there is any question, by all means.
Sir, thank you very much, and thank.
The legislators here, they can answer the question. Well,
Thank-
thank you very much.
Thanks
you
for.
all.
Oh, sorry. We do have one member of council who has a question. Councillor Watt.
I just have a quick practical question. Insurance, do you pay with people leaping over fire with children in their arms? Who covers the
That's a very good
insurance?
question. We, on an annual basis, we pay $10 million. We buy a $10 million insurance from the insurance company we provide for the event, and this is a completely safe. And furthermore, we have the ambulance on the side, is
Yeah.
provided by this district, of course. Well, of course, we have a security event. Yes,
Okay.
we have insurance all the time.
Excellent. I just wondered if it was yours or ours, so thanks for clarifying.
No,
Appreciate it.
anytime, for sure.
Thank you. And sir, we do wish you the best, and for those of you who perhaps have not taken in the Nowruz Festival, it's quite a lot of fun, and I'd encourage everybody. It's certainly open. You don't have to be Persian to go and enjoy.
Come on March 18 at
Exactly.
Ambleside Park. We'll be your host.
And yes, as Councillor Lambert said, even pickleball players are welcome.
Okay. All right.
Could I have a motion, Councillor Thompson, please?
Thank you, yes. Mr. Gavami, that was a great presentation. We do enjoy your festival in our community every year. And out of all the things that you talked about, I have to also add that you've got, with your entertainment, the most amazing, enthusiastic crowds there, and your food is fantastic too. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to recommend that the delegation from the Iranian-Canadian Congress of Canada regarding Persian Fire Festival, Ambleside, West Vancouver, be received for information with thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I will second that and say that my long-term weather forecast says that it might even be sunny that day, so that would be good news.
Question, all in favor? Contrary, carried. Thanks very much. And now we have the opportunity to hear our annual presentation from our Seniors Activity Center Advisory Board, and we're very grateful for you joining us this evening. Thank you again, sir.
Good evening, Mr.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name's James Ray, Customer Service and Senior Service Manager here at the District of West Vancouver. And tonight I am joined by Lenore Rogers, who is our current Seniors Activity Center Advisory Board Chair. Tonight, Lenore will be going through the highlights from the 2024 year, as well as discussing some of the 2024 priorities. And as you'll see, the Advisory Board has done a lot of good advocacy work for the Senior Center as well as the community. So with that, Lenore, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, James. First of all, I would like to begin by thanking all the hardworking Advisory Board members pictured on the screen. It's a privilege to work with such a strong, dedicated group. I'd also like to acknowledge the support provided to the board by Councillor Peter Lambert, our council liaison person, who continues to be a great advocate for seniors in the community. And Peter, we're very pleased to have the opportunity to work with you. In 2024, we would like to point out several highlights of the work that has been done. First, we're very important to talk about the Saks on 21st. It's a wonderful gift shop inside the Seniors Activity Center. And in 2024, it has raised over $189,000 in sales. Just an amazing amount of work that's been done. All items in the shop are donated by community members. These are then cleaned and beautifully displayed by members that volunteer in the shop. Secondly, the Advisory Board, through fundraising and bequests, has spent or committed over $115,000 towards seniors programs and services in 2024, including but limited to new menu boards and televisions throughout the center, sponsorship of the Tuesday afternoon piano bar, a high tea, and the annual shortbread and sherry event for members to enjoy. Equipment replacement for a variety of SAC programs, cooling kits for seniors in need, donation to the shuttle bus, and we've supported the shower program run by Enhance West Vancouver at the Community Centre. In 2024, the centre also increased their food services. In addition to Thursday night dinners, Tuesday night dinner service was introduced, and over 125 entrees are served for each evening. We also hosted another successful North Shore Seniors Expo, which headlined the BC Seniors Advocate Dan Levitt as the keynote speaker. At the end of 2024, the Seniors Activity Center had 4,300 active members, and these numbers continue to grow every month. And most importantly, the center is heavily supported by volunteers, having contributed over 33,000 volunteer hours in 2024 alone. For 2025, the priorities for the board and the Seniors Activity Center include implementing changes to the shuttle bus, which I am pleased to report has already begun with a modified service. As well, beginning today, March 10th, we launched a new pilot project, a Western Connector shuttle service, which goes to Horseshoe Bay and stops at the Gleneagle Center and comes to the center, the community center, on 21st. We will increase collaboration with community partners such as the West Van Municipal Library, the West Van Foundation, Enhance West Van, and many others. We will continue our seniors outreach program. For example, an outreach initiative was the Western Connector shuttle bus service. We will work with the Seniors Advisory Roundtable to help determine the best approach regarding the future of Seniors Activity Center. And of course, we will continue to support the Feed the Need program. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And,
Thank you. So if there's any questions, we'd be happy to respond at this time.
Thank you. Our community is very grateful for all of your efforts. Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you very much for a tremendously report. It was actually excellent. I had the privilege some while ago to be your representative, your liaison, and I'm very impressed with everything that happens there. And interesting enough, I have a house guest from England who wandered over and was extremely impressed with the facility and what was happening. So if you can beat old merry old English, good on ya. Anyway, I think that was Australian, good on ya, but whatever. One of the questions I wanted to ask is the bus that you have out to Horseshoe Bay, is that to assist with people coming also from Libby Lodge to the community centre?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's-
through Mr. Mayor to Councillor Cassidy, that's correct. That was the main purpose of us starting that pilot project.
Oh, that's great, because I had heard from the group out there that there was a sense of isolation, and it would be so wonderful to have the opportunity to come in. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation, and thank you for all you do. That was a huge amount of money raised through the Saxoff, what do we call it?
Saxon 21st.
I was going to call it Saxoff 5th, but that would be a store at Park Royal. Sax on 21st. How much of an increase is that over last year? I feel like it's significant.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor to Councillor Watt, it was about $10,000 more from last year.
That's really great. Thank you so much. And the other question I had, has there been much of an uptick yet on the new bus service out to Libby Lodge?
It just started
It
today.
just started today.
Today.
First day.
Yeah, today was the first day.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to hearing how that goes. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
It really is good news that we're servicing our seniors out there. Councillor Lambert. Could I ask for a motion, please?
Yes, Mayor Sager, thank you very much. And before I sort of move acceptance of this presentation, I just wanted to say that I have truly enjoyed my time working as your council liaison. This is an incredibly, robust and vibrant organization. You've done a lot. You're planning to do a lot. You're looking fearlessly to the future and how you can continue to provide services to our seniors and make it better than it is before. Our Seniors Activity Centre is a model that's looked to around the province and across the country. And I think it's something that we can all be proud of, and it's due to the work of this board and all those wonderful volunteers that make it happen. So with that, I would like to recommend that the Seniors Activity Centre Advisory Board annual presentation be received for information with thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Watt.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary? Carried. Thank you. And thank you again very, very much. Thank you. And now we have an opportunity to hear from our much cherished, loved West Vancouver Memorial Library. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to put my timer on to be respectful of your time. Your worship and members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight on two separate reports. The first is our 2024 user survey, and we only do this every 5 years, so you'll only have to hear all this detail once every 5 years. And the other is our annual report, which is a little abbreviated tonight. So this year, we conducted our annual user survey for the first time in 5 years and had an 18% jump in responses from citizens of West Van. So 1,466 residents filled out the survey, in addition to 1,000 that did not indicate where they're from and a smaller percentage from other areas. So we just zeroed in on the local resident responses for this report. And I will say more than 47% of them have lived in the community for more than 20 years. So it was quite interesting. We conducted, as part of this work, a non-user analysis using statistical methods and some external data, and found that in general, usage across the district is strong for the library, but the lowest use areas would be above the highway and the western region. And as a community, as we think about approaching the 50,000 population mark, that typically is when libraries start to think about multi-location models. So we'll be looking at a long-term infrastructure plan to look at some of those options. Obviously, nothing happens without the will of the community, so it's just a planning exercise. Just as we were finishing our analysis of the survey data, a big study came out of New York that looked at factors of well-being and how public libraries enhance those very strongly. And as I was reading it, I couldn't help but think of the comments of the local residents that I had just been analyzing laboriously, and realized I had to go back to the drawing board and include some of this analysis in our report. And our report is live on our website, and I hope people will take a look. But we couldn't go back and change the questions because they'd already been administered, but we could look at all those over 1,000 qualitative responses from the public, so we did do that. If you take a look at the report, you'll see things like this, where we've kind of sliced and diced the population to look at how the library helps different populations. Here's an example, which is for 19 and under, how they're using the library. More than half of them come for 2 hours or more. So they're coming in to study, socialize, and there's a lot of other places they could be that wouldn't be quite as good as the library, so I'm glad that they do come in. Sometimes we have them on the floor when we're full. So definitely they are coming, and 75% are coming for an hour or more. We did some looking at our spaces and how important they were to people versus how satisfied they were, and wherever there was a gap, we tried to take a look. So across all groups, they're looking for more designated quiet spaces, so we'll take a look at our noise zoning within the library. People whose first language is not English had a larger variance across many different types of space, so we want to take a look at that. And 19 and under, they really were looking for more, for refreshed spaces for kids and teens, and more places to socialize. So you can see these blue boxes throughout, and what we tried to do with this survey is find actionable insights that would actually change our behavior. So we don't want to just survey people and move on. We actually want to listen and do something, so that's what those blue boxes are. Kids and teens, 128 of them soldiered through this long, complicated survey, and I can't believe they did. But luckily, we also had done a bunch of consultation the prior year and had over 750 responses in a more kid-friendly format. We also invited Youth Friendly North Shore to send a team of mystery shoppers to the library and look at our spaces and services and give us their unbiased report, which we took very seriously, and we're looking at what they're looking to see. And not surprisingly, Wi-Fi is huge for all the youth responses. So looking at these factors of well-being, we are a learning organization, so this was not a surprise. But the factors identified by the New York study included engagement, meaning, learning, discovery, inspiration, enrichment, knowledge, reflection, and purpose. And so finding over 400 spontaneous comments about those factors was a good indication in this time when people are worried about social media addiction, the attention economy, all these different factors that are flying about. It's nice to know that people are coming in the library and engaging in purposeful learning activities. So we asked about experience of disability and chronic conditions for the first time in this survey, and found different ways that the library is different. So one of the things could be, how long does it take you to get to the library? Something as simple as that. Or do you live alone? And when people are living alone, you know, the library, and that was a fantastic presentation by the Seniors Activity Center, but these services make a huge difference. And those quiet ways that library and senior center help people have health effects and all kinds of different longer term effects that you may not predict, but they actually are there. Looking at the qualitative feedback again for this factor, and in the New York study they looked at things like relationships, connection, care, and support. This was supported with over 350 spontaneous comments. I love my library, always warm and welcoming. Staff are very helpful, and I feel I can ask if I need assistance. Having it be so welcoming means so much. As I grow older, I feel accepted and not judged. We also looked at the comments just for like, are they positive? Do they want more? Are they negative, mixed? And what are the specific suggestions? So I won't go on and on. I know I'm running out of my time here. But I will highlight in the positive category, which 60% of the comments were positive. A lot of them were general and talked about multiple factors. But the biggest one, when they talked about something specific, was our staff. And I do want to recognize that our staff come in every day with a lot of commitment, curiosity, and desire to help people, and that reflected in all these comments. In terms of the more category, they kind of want everything more, but the strongest one was collections. So we will look at that. Are we prioritizing the right places to fund? Are we getting them into people's hands? And I love this comment, more copies of books in demand. The waiting time even to reserve a copy can compete with my life expectancy. So people didn't pull any punches in their comments, and so, fair enough. I heard it. Yeah.
If we only knew what book that person wanted.
Negative comments and mixed comments, we provide a little bit of detail here, but please do look at the full survey. Integrity and well-being being the last of those factors of well-being, this was so fun to analyze because it was just joyful. Positive emotions, comfort, joy, accomplishment, productivity. And I love this comment from a student. Absolutely love the West Van Library. I come here most days after school to socialize and work. Truly brings me joy. Also, all of the staff are the friendliest people on this planet. So thank you, West Van residents, for these comments. Now a whirlwind tour of our annual report. Our impact report is available on our website, and I encourage everyone to read it. And I thank all the members of the community, our partners, our funders, presenters, performers, all the people who made this a spectacular year for us. We circulated close to 1 million items, and that is more than we would have circulated pre-pandemic. So more than 2018, more than 2019. Close to 400,000 in-person visits, and you can see more details here as well. We always are aware of the fiscal pressures on the district, and we're always looking for ways to stretch a dollar. I'll provide a couple examples here tonight. In 2023, the district funded a low dollar reno of our main hall, where we moved 2 service desks into one and created flexible furnishings that could be moved out of the way to enable us to have our concerts in a better layout. And then in 2024, entirely through our foundation and the estate of Robert Leslie Welsh, we improved the concert staging, seating, sound, and lighting. So it just shows how third-party funding can enhance district dollars, and we've had rave reviews over this new orientation for very little money. We are currently renovating our mezzanine, and I just want to commend staff on really caring about the public. We've had almost no complaints about this major disruption because of the care of staff. Programs and services, it was a fantastic year. I want to thank our representative, Sharon Thompson, the mayor, West Van Fire Department, our Friends of the Library, our foundation, all for supporting this event, which was record-breaking with 2,000 kids registered and to stop summer learning loss. So thank you so much. It made a big difference to those kids. The other thing I wanted to highlight is that we have some language learning kits to learn the Squamish language through the generosity of knowledge keeper Rebecca Duncans at SciMet, so people can borrow those if they want to learn the Squamish language. Lastly, we have our business plan live on our website. And I'll only highlight one thing because I can see I'm 23 seconds over, which is that we turned 75 this year. And I know we look younger, but in 1950, through a community movement, money was raised to establish our library in its current location as a memorial to war and all of the difficulties and tragedy of war. And so we are going to celebrate the 75 years of fantastic service, of community contributions and support. and you'll be hearing a lot more about it. And we want to hear all your weird, wild, and wonderful stories of living in West Vancouver over the past 75 years and share them with everyone else. So, in fact, I heard one about people being shot at with a BB gun when trying to swim off of the Parthenon. So I'm looking for those kind of quirky stories. So please, if you have them, let me know. Thank you. And this is Andy Krawczyk,
I
our
was going
board
to
chair.
say, this is
A
the
very
long.
important fellow.
Andy, we appreciate you being here tonight, and I think that's the longest I've seen you sit.
Without talking. Pretty well what my wife says. I also want to acknowledge, Stephanie's already acknowledged the incredible staff, and we do. We're incredibly fortunate as a community to be able to attract the kind of quality of staff that we have. But I also want to thank the members of the library board. That's why I'm sitting beside staff to, not even to hold the mouse. I thought I'd at least get that job. I didn't get that job. But I do want to, and if I can just ask behind me, I can't.
Are members
I'm
of the
trying to keep
library board
track.
here this
Members
evening?
of the library board, if you could just stand or at least put your hands up. There we are. You've got 1, 2,
Oh.
there we go.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to them. And thank you to Councillor Thompson for being our liaison. It's been a pleasure to have Councillor Thompson with us for the past 2 or 3 years, I believe it is. And certainly the support that we get from each and every one of the members of council is extremely welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to all of the members who volunteer their valuable time to help this wonderful organization. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Yes, I am going to take a moment here just because there's so many people in the audience, and I always have a lot of amazing things to say about the West Van Library, and many of you know what a jewel and a gem it's been in our community for decades and decades. At 75 years, I'm wondering where you actually reach that status of highest use per capita. Because as long as I've known, I was on the board 30 years ago, and it was certainly in place then, and it's still in place today. And along with that high use is the high integrity that the and innovation that the library has moved along with. And I, particularly want to put my hats off to Stephanie. An incredible leader, and you can see that on the library board with her staff. And I can't tell you how much, how grateful it is to myself and all of council each year when she takes such a valued facility that you could do so much, endless things with, and really puts on her thinking cap about what's necessary, what is needed in our community, what's valued. And she's incredibly fiscally responsible with her asks and always makes sure they come to the greatest fruition. So I really do commend you on that, Stephanie. And I also, Andy, you're on so many of our wonderful boards, and you kind of run around and share all your collective knowledge and help everybody out. And we really appreciate all your volunteer hours. So I'll stop there, but thank you. Thank you. Oh, and I'll make the motion. Got to make this motion so we can move along. Sorry.
Sorry, Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thompson. I just wanted to ask, in days of old, there was a mobile bus that took the, I ask this every year, and the good thing about it is I am consistent. And it would go out to the various care homes, Capilano Care, which is no more, and up to Inglewood and so forth. And it was very much loved by those individuals, and the individual who drove the bus also filled up the cart because at the time it was a woman, and she knew the reading tastes of so many of the individuals who were utilizing the service, and so they greatly appreciate it. And I'm wondering if there's any thought, or even more importantly, any money to bring such back again.
Well, it's a very important question, and we have people who still remember that bookmobile to this day. So it really touched people's heart, and it is one of the models within that long-term infrastructure planning that we would definitely look at. Things don't have to necessarily be a second library exactly like ours. It can be much more nimble. It can be, there's services that are like an Amazon Locker that could be, there's different ways that we can look at this long-term infrastructure. And certainly the bookmobile is really a fun service that people did appreciate. So we would want to take a look at the costs and benefits. I know there's a number of costs with the bookmobile. And at present, we have a little electric car that goes around to all of the care homes, and our two plus wonderful staff know all the Reedy tastes and do that wonderful service, and we hear about them all the time and what a difference they make. So, yeah, thank you for that suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Thompson.
Well, thank you. With that, I'd like to recommend that the West Vancouver Memorial Library annual presentation be received with thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite members of our arts and cultures for bring us a update on the 2025 to 2029 annual work plan. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just hold it up.
And I think I should start this evening as you're loading the presentation to say we appreciate this report was done prior to our recent acquisition in Horseshoe Bay. So we might ask you to give us some input and thoughts on how we're going to use that facility, and we'll send it right back at you. We'll be looking for community input and consultation to ensure we maximize the use of that space.
Yep. Well, good evening tonight, and a warm welcome to the Mayor and Council, and thank you for having us to be able to present to you. My name is Scott Johnson. I'm the new co-chair, one half of the Scott and Scott Show, co-chairs for the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee, and here with my contemporary partner, Scott Swan.
We've actually changed the bylaws of the committee. You have to be called Scott in order to be the chair, so it's worked out well.
So I want to thank you for your time this evening and for considering the arts and culture strategy update that we're going to present tonight that covers the period from 2025 through to 2029 and the committee's proposed 2025 work plan. I'd also like to welcome and acknowledge some of our committee members that are here tonight, if they'd like to stand up, and would like to thank them for their time and efforts in helping us to develop the arts strategy. And I'd also like to take time to thank Councillors Gambioli and Watt for being your representatives with our group and helping to work with us to put all this together.
Now, one of your colleagues stood up, but maybe all of you who are involved could stand up so we could say thank you and recognize you.
Okay. At this time, I'll pass over to my colleague Scott for the next slide.
In 2024, the newly appointed Arts and Culture Advisory Committee spent several months working with the arts community to update the arts and culture strategy, which had expired in 2023. The purpose of updating the arts and culture strategy was to reconfirm the vision for the arts and culture in West Vancouver and to ensure that the arts and culture groups were collaborating in building the sector towards the long-term sustainability and growth of the arts in the community. It was also to guide and support decision-making by council and ensure that the arts is integrated into the district's planning process. Finally, the goal of updating the strategy was to provide roles for the arts groups and the district working together to implement the arts and culture strategy over the next 5 years. In 2024, the ACAC developed a questionnaire for arts groups and individual artists that resulted in responses representing over 2,500 individuals. Workshops were then held with the arts community to review and confirm the emerging priorities. And also, members of the ACAC met with business associations, including the ADBIA and the Horseshoe Bay Business Association. Further input was received from West Vancouver Schools, the Memorial Library, and a small group of artists from the Squamish Nation. As Council will remember, when we came to Council in October 2024 to present some of the key priorities that could be integrated into the 2025 work plan of the district staff and the ACAC. The Arts and Culture Strategy update has the same overarching goals as the previous strategy, namely people, programs, places, and process. Each goal has a set of strategies and the emerging priorities that the arts community identified as their key focus for the next 5 years. Goal 1, people. To develop an independent umbrella group that will connect, support, and provide resources to the community. 2, create opportunities for arts groups to convene with funders to expand funding partnerships. 3, offer meetings for arts groups to encourage relationship building. And 4, define the scope and roles and responsibilities of the district versus the arts and culture group. Who does what, when, and how. Goal 2, programs. Initiate a pilot program for busking in parks and business areas. 2, continue to offer professional development opportunities for the arts. 3, to develop a pilot artist in residence program. And 4, to continue to collaborate with Indigenous nations and organizations. 3, and this goes back to your comment, Mr. Mayor. Council has purchased the boathouse at Horseshoe Bay with the intent of creating a new interim home for the Art Museum. We look forward to the work with the district and the Art Museum Advisory Panel and see the work that will undergo towards this goal. The arts community will still need a new purpose-built arts facility, and the ACAC looks forward to working with Council to confirm a location that is reflective of the Arts and Culture Facilities Plan of 2019. In the meantime, our priority is to ensure that the existing multipurpose spaces for the arts are prioritized for dedicated arts use. We need to develop spaces for the arts that are functional, affordable, and available for artists and arts groups. Practically, we need to install electrical infrastructure in Horseshoe Bay and Appleside Park, and we need to identify and create publicly accessible database of indoor, outdoor, and semi-outdoor spaces for the arts. Goal 4, process. Develop coordinated marketing that can be done without the onerous privacy issues that allow outdoor kiosks that can be placed in busy locations. 2, review district regulations and zoning bylaws to enable increased outdoor arts activities and events on streets and sidewalks. 3, revise the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee terms of reference to include youth representation. Scott?
So our 2025 work plan reflects the arts and culture strategy update actions that you, the council, approved back in October of 2024. We wanted to make sure that we were able to move forward quickly this year to start implementation of the updated strategy. So both district staff and the ACAC have work plans that reflect the priorities that were set back in 2024. The ACAC is going to work to develop an implementation plan for the strategy update, develop a framework for an independent umbrella group for the arts, and to continue efforts towards development of a standalone, purpose-built arts facility for the community that incorporates the visual and performing arts and seeks to replace the programs of the Music Box, Silk Purse, and Gertrude Lawson House. So at this time, I want to just pass over really quickly to my colleague Scott as well, too, for something special.
Okay. The ACAC will also monitor the implementation of other priorities in the work plan related to the 2025 priorities that the district...
Well done. Well, that was certainly a wonderful musical interlude and great fun. And I can't tell you what a great coincidence it is because Karen and Kevin, who are here tonight, and when I was meeting with them to talk about what the Rotary might do with the money raised from those paintings, who did I suggest? I suggested that the money could support these wonderful young singers.
Wonderful.
That was not planned.
We have two young students and a parent that would like to briefly speak about the role of the arts in their life.
Thank you. Please come. We'd love to hear from you.
So, the arts are important to me because they bring me a lot of joy and happiness. For example, I currently play the French horn in my school band, which is like beyond fun. And I've met so many amazing people through the arts program and hope that lots of students can share the same experience I have.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rose, and last spring I injured my knee playing baseball. It was rough. I was in a splint and crutches for a month or so, and the one thing I always remembered coming out smiling was, choir. And it's like we built this little community that's so welcoming, and Miss Fulton's always here when we need her, and it's like it's a little family that we always have each other's back. And so I just wanted to come out here and thank the arts for always being there through the rough times.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we have a proud parent.
Proud parent. Hi, my name's Jenny Hipple, and I've been a parent within the West Vancouver School District for the last 15 years. Have another 5 to go, and this is my daughter, Amelia Hipple, that was one of the speakers tonight. For my 3 kids, 2 of which have participated in this amazing honor choir program, the Arts in Schools has provided both a physical and a mental sanctuary for them. A place to be present in both mind and body without the distraction of the technologically fast-paced world in which our kids are growing up in. The self-confidence and resilience they have developed through the arts has already provided them with the opportunity for global empathy and leadership skills, which will prove useful in our greater society. Thank you.
Thank you. Please forgive me, I have to make a comment on this.
Of course.
Because as many of you will know, our daughter Michaela started out singing at Eagle Harbor School, and thanks to the amazing teachers there and at Caulfield and at Rockridge, she pursued her career in music and graduated from the Manhattan School of Music and is now a very professional opera singer. And this past weekend, Kathy and I had the immense joy of watching our daughter perform as the soloist at the 150th anniversary at Stanford University with a 200-person choir behind her and a 150-piece orchestra in a room that was the most spectacular room, particularly for acoustics. And to see your little girl up there with all of these people, it's pursue your dreams and sing. It's really wonderful. Sorry, I just...
No, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Before I turn it back to Scott, just 2 things. One is, and whether you go on into the performing arts or the graphic arts, what the arts teach is so far beyond that in terms of using your imagination, in terms of empathy, and in terms of problem solving with young people. It is extraordinary. It's not just the art for the artist. It's for everybody. And I just want to take a brief second and thank Suzanne Fulton, who has, if you can believe this, 12 choirs on the North Shore.
Wow. Yeah.
She is the program director of the Illuminate Choral Program, And I also want to take a second to thank the parents who have come out here this evening and made this journey to bring their children here so that they could sing. I have a vague understanding of what that's like with a dancer and an actor in my family. And to Yolanda Chiklova, who's the teacher candidate who led the choir, thank you so much. That was wonderful, wonderful work. Scott?
Thanks, Scott. And I will say people in the arts and culture community love people who play pickleball. We get along really well. So. And on that note, I'd like to request that the council approve the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee's West Vancouver Arts and Culture Strategy Update 2025 to 2029. And the ACAC will be directed to work with the arts community to implement the recommendations in the strategy update, and that council approve the ACAC's 2025 work plan.
Thank you, and that will include giving us your thoughts and consultation on how we use the new facility. And I've got to just do this. This is totally unscripted, but I've got something on my desk I want to bring in and share. I hope you'll forgive me. It'll take 5 seconds.
Okay. Another song, maybe? Or?
It's me. The last slide. I don't have any stories of opera stars. Come on, you guys.
As your mayor, people come in, whether it's the Persian, people come in frequently to show their ideas and thoughts, and I'd love to share this one with you. Get your feedback and just see what you think. Yes, I'm showing them. I happen to think it's wonderful. This is not a council-sanctioned moment at all. Just an idea. So
How
please
surprising.
Don't anybody get carried away. But how about a lovely little band shell down on the waterfront somewhere?
Wow.
And this was brought in, this idea was brought up by 2 young musicians in our community who own the Dio Piano School. And they thought how wonderful it would be. As it turns out, I met on Wednesday last week with the West Vancouver Foundation, and they've actually got about $450,000, which has been put into funds to do something like this. Some of it was put in by former Mayor Don Lanscale. I had the great honor of working with him 35 years ago, and his dream was always to try and put some kind of a band shell in a park in our community. And he left some money, and he had one of his friends also leave money in the foundation, which could be spent on this. So I'd like to give you this and see what people in the community think of this idea.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. I'd like to just take a moment to thank Councillor Watt, Councillor Gambioli, and Dodie Niedermeyer for all their incredible assistance this year. The advice, the hard work, and the generosity of spirit from all 3 of them has been astonishing. Really made a difference to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Could I have a motion? And I would ask that to come from, Councillor Gambioli. Thank you.
Thank you. I am happy to make this motion, and we've thanked everybody already, so I crossed off all the other things I was going to say. But the committee really has gotten, rolled up their sleeves, and the report, the actual update was, really wordsmithed, if you will, by the committee with staff, and so more than usual, I'm going to suggest, and then also put together by our communication staff. Need to shout out to them because now it looks gorgeous, and it will carry us through the next 5 years. So I will recommend that the West Vancouver Arts and Culture Strategy Update 2025 to 29 attached as an appendix to the report dated February 12th, 2025 from the Senior Manager of Cultural Services be approved. That staff be directed to work with the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee and community arts groups to implement the recommendations in the strategy update, subject to annual budget process. That the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee annual work plan attached as Appendix C to the February 12th report from the Senior Manager of Cultural Services, including how we use the new arts facility in Horseshoe Bay and the bandshell idea, be approved.
Oh, the bandshell got into the motion. I love it. That's totally unscripted. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
Councillor Watt.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a second to the motion.
Yeah, no, I'll second that, and I just have a couple of comments as well. I just want to thank the two Scotts. We've actually got 4 up here right now. It's spreading, but it's been a real pleasure working with you so far, and I'm definitely looking forward to the year ahead. And of course, with all of the committee and Ms. Niedermeyer. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Fulton if she is still here. Yes. You know, I don't know how many people, well, obviously quite a few young people in this room, but she has had such a profound impact on the lives of so many young students, my own sons who are now in their mid-20s as well. And, you know, when they think back over their time at Glen Eagles, she was by far and away one of the shining stars and highlights of their time there, and for the parents that had the pleasure of interacting. So I think the youth, you know, in West Vancouver are in very good hands with her wonderful, gentle, and talented guidance.
Thank you. So we have the motion moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. And gentlemen, and to all of the wonderful singers, thank you for joining us this evening. That was a real treat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're not going to stay for the pickleball discussion?
As much as we love them.
That was wonderful.
So are they a collection of all North Shore children, or are they?
West Van.
It's all just West Van.
Well, West Van students. They could.
Obviously. And we thought they were all.
No, we didn't. You really are. You are. You know, and we thought everybody came out tonight for the pickleball. But I don't think this will be too controversial, so I'll ask, is there a presentation? Jill, you're going to lead us through it?
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you. My name is Jill Lawler. I'm the Senior Manager of Parks. I would like to thank... Thank you. Sorry about that. I'd like to thank the wonderful volunteers on the Pickleball Advisory Roundtable. Here this evening with us is Karen Pilak, who is a member of the West Vancouver Players. Karen, if you want to give us a wave. Thank you.
Thank
I don't
you.
see any other members of the roundtable, but we also have members from the North Shore Pickleball Club, as well as other community pickleball players with a diverse expertise in sport, recreation, and mediation. The roundtable was established to support our staff in efficiently addressing the needs of pickleball and fostering collaboration and streamlining community-focused solutions. Based on recommendations from the roundtable and with council approval, we have made 4 courts at Normanby permanent, as well as built 4 new regulation-sized courts in Ambleside Park and streamlined indoor pickleball at both Glen Eagles and the West Vancouver Community Centre. At the January 16th roundtable meeting, there was a recommendation to construct courts west of the Glen Eagles Community Centre. The roundtable considered both Ambleside and Glen Eagles and voted 4-1 in favor of building the courts at Glen Eagles, citing benefits such as improved accessibility, reduced environmental impact for driving for the Western residents, and increased social connections. Locating the courts in the western part of the community would allow residents to walk and bike rather than travel to centralized locations, thus meeting the age-friendly principles. While Ambleside Park is used for more than just pickleball, such as soccer, field hockey, beaches, golf, and community events like Norwoos and Community Cultural Fest, it's recommended that staff complete an Ambleside Park master plan before considering further additions to the park. While considering the building of courts at the Glen Eagles, staff reviewed the whole site and came back with a proposal to construct 4 pickleball courts, as well as a paved all abilities pump track for bikes, skateboards, scooters, rollerblades, and other wheeled activities. The proposed location would replace the existing Glen Eagles Adventure Park, which is made up of the bike terrain park and the skate bowl. Neither have attracted consistent popular use, and anecdotal evidence suggests low usage of the site. The bike terrain park struggles with erosion, weed growth, and is limited to BMX mountain bikes, reducing its accessibility. The skateboard bowl features steep bowls that cater primarily to advanced riders and limit the broader community use, as well attracting some graffiti. The middle court here is the same size of the courts that's built at Ambleside and is a regulation-sized court here in Canada and is the proposed size for the Glen Eagles site. This picture here is just an illustrative concept that shows how they could fit, but not necessarily how they would fit. Land in West Vancouver is scarce and valuable, and optimizing the site with diverse recreational amenities ensures efficient and effective public space use. Adding both a paved pump track and pickleball courts west of Glen Eagles would transform an underutilized space into a vibrant, multi-generational recreational hub benefiting residents of all ages and abilities. A paved pump track would provide local residents with year-round use and offer safe, accessible environment for all skill levels. It would serve a wide range of users, including those on rollerblades, bikes, skateboards, and scooters, and can serve beginners to advanced riders. The combination of pickleball and a pump track would create that multi-generational space that parents, grandparents, youth, and children can all gather and benefit from. Pump tracks have been successfully integrated into the park systems across the region. Nearby examples include Moodyville and Inter River in North Vancouver and demonstrate their success as well-loved community amenities. Recently, staff have also received community requests for a pump track here in West Vancouver. The future plan for pickleball, we are recommending constructing the courts at Glen Eagles, which would improve the geographic balance and provide accessible recreation for the West, conduct a lighting study on the Ambleside courts, and complete that Ambleside Park master plan to explore the feasibility of future courts. In 2026, pending the outcome of that lighting study and budget approval, we'd like to install lights at the Ambleside Park, and also pending the outcome of the Ambleside Park master plan, potentially request a budget approval for additional courts in Ambleside. And in the future, look at the possibility of courts in Cypress Village. To determine the feasibility of this project, staff are recommending allocating up to $28,000 from existing unspent sport court capital to complete the following, which includes a topographic survey, a detailed design and Class C cost estimate to construct 4 regulation-sized pickleball courts and a new paved pump track designed for all abilities, accommodating bikes, scooters, and skateboards west of the Glen Eagles Community Centre on the site that's currently known as the Glen Eagles Adventure Park. Staff to confirm available funding sources for the proposed project, and staff communicate with the Western community and stakeholders about the potential use of the existing Glen Eagles Adventure Park, including retaining it as is or repurposing it for pickleball courts and a paved pump track, and staff to report back to council in early May of this year. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Snyder.
Yes, just a couple of things. First of all, I commend staff for being able to put this all together in such a timely fashion. It's much appreciated to see the ball moving. I did have a question for you, and then just a couple of quick comments. You said there was a vote of 4-1. I was just wondering, the one person that opposed it, what sort of grounds were there for opposing this location?
There wasn't opposition necessarily for building courts at Glen Eagles, but it was more of a prioritization. So this individual felt that the prioritization should go to the Ambleside courts versus the Glen Eagles courts, and that Ambleside should be built before Glen Eagles.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that. I look forward to hearing from the public and the stakeholders that you guys are going to be engaging and hearing from. I look forward to that valuable input. The pump track, I have looked into these things a little bit more, and the thing that I love about the pump track is it serves such an incredibly large group of people. You could be brand new with four-wheeled scooters, you could have 2-year-olds, to the highly skilled skateboarders out there doing. So I think it really serves a very, very large group of the population and the youth as well. So in any event, unless there's anybody else I can...
There is,
Okay.
I've got Councillor Gambioli.
Just question / suggestion. The overhead diagram of where the potential courts should go. As I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it would make sense to me to consider putting them on the road side of the site, because there's a fence around them, as opposed to having the pump track, close to the road if you've got little kids on bikes, and the I guess it would be west side. Combines nicely with the trail that's already there. So anyways, I just thought as a layout, I would want to think about the courts on the road side. So that's my only comment. Thanks.
Thank you. And I should just say, just so it's really clear, this motion passes. It does move us down that road, but there's certainly room for community consultation, ideas, thoughts. I love the idea of the pump track. If it could take some of the people who are skateboarding down Westport Road off that road and put them on somewhere safe, it would be welcome. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, and actually, to your point on that, Mayor Sager, when I was driving around looking at a project site today, in front of my car, a skateboarder fell off his skateboard in the street in the middle of the road. So anything that gets these individuals off the streets where it's not safe and onto something like this is certainly welcome. So you're talking consultation to be finished by May, and how long would it take, should that be positive, how long would it take through completion? From what you showed, it looked like it would still be within 2025?
Through the mayor to Councillor Watt, we would start the process in 2025 with likely completion for the early spring of 2026.
That's fantastic. And again, it's only anecdotally, as you mentioned, but throughout the 19 years that I've lived in the community, I've seen very, very little use of certainly the bike track. It's never been a big thing. Maybe I'm not there at the times when it is exceptionally well used, but I've always seen it as a bit of a dead space. So I personally hope this goes through, and look forward to seeing what the engagement brings. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public that wish to address council on this issue tonight?
We have one member of the public that's signed up, Mayor Sager, Edward Pilak.
Mr. Pilak, nice to see you this evening. Thanks for joining us. And how's your pickleball game going these days?
Fantastic.
Is it?
It's unbelievable. Good evening, Mayor Sager and members of council. My name is Ed Pilak. Ed K. is here to help me She's a member of the executive as well. I'm president of West Van Players and a longtime resident of West Vancouver, 36 years. I'm here to express West Van Players' support for the new pickleball courts and pump track proposed for Glen Eagles. There is tremendous demand for pickleball court time throughout the district. Booking for weekly indoor pickleball courts at Glen Eagles are filled within 1 minute of the start of registration. 1 minute! The new pickleball courts will provide pickleball players in the western part of the district a place to play without needing to travel long distances. That's the Normanby and Ambleside. It will free up more time at the other outdoor pickleball courts, which are overcrowded during the spring and summer. The addition of a pump track is a fantastic idea. Young and old, and most at all different activity levels can enjoy themselves. Imagine the sight of parents like Amanda with her 4 children, 4, playing pickleball on the courts with her children playing on the pump track. It's a great sight. It's an activity that all ages can take advantage of. The underutilized facility will become a hub of activity for all ages. The social aspect will be very positive. Also, Glen Eagles Elementary School is nearby. The new pickleball courts will provide the opportunity for school programming and young children to come and play pickleball with their friends, parents, and grandparents. We are encouraged and hope that Park will meet the deadline that they have set for completing the community consultation. They aim to report back to council in early May 2025. West Van Players is asking council to support Park's request to proceed with the first phase of the Glen Eagles pickleball court and pump track project. We ask council to allow Parks to do whatever is necessary to meet the May 2025 date to return to council with the results of the community consultation. We are advocating for the construction to begin this year and hope it can be achieved.
That's time, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you on this matter.
Thank you. And I have to ask the question, when was it that we took a drive out to Glen Eagles and looked at this site?
We went with you. Isn't that fantastic?
Last
When?
summer, early last summer.
Early last summer.
I thought it was longer.
There you go.
That may have been the second ride.
Yes.
Thanks very much. Is there anyone else this evening that wishes to address council on this issue? Okay, I'll ask Councillor Snyder. Yes, there is a person. Sorry, sir.
Sorry, we just attended last night. Found out about it. My wife emailed the district about pump track.
Sorry, sir, if you want to address this, please feel free to come forward and introduce yourself. And
Okay.
It's going to be close as bedtime soon.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, everyone, Mayor and council members. As I was mentioning, my wife recently reached out because...
Sir, if I could just ask for your name for the record.
my name's Graydon Ball.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm completely unprepared, but we just wanted to come by and say that we really welcome the possibility of the pump track and the pickleball courts. My parents are pickleball fanatics. They're not here right now, but they asked me to come and support that initiative. But for my young family, I've got 2 kids. Both of them are completely wild about biking. We make extensive use of Moodyville as well as the other pump tracks in North Vancouver as well as Squamish. Besides just the opportunity for children to learn how to ride bikes in a safe environment and scootering and skateboarding and keeping them in a safe place, there's also the social aspect. I can't say how many people we've met through the pump tracks and how many children my son and my daughter have met. I think this is a fantastic initiative. I love pickleball. I love pump track. This just seems like a match made in heaven. Sorry for my dress right now. We just came from the pump track, and this young man wanted to come and say that he would very much like it, and we really appreciate your time and the consideration put into this project. And just wanted to say thank you.
It's actually really great that you did that, because we really appreciate the feedback from people who use the pump track, and I don't think any of us have tried it yet.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, sir. Council.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else? Then I'll turn it over to Councillor Snyder for a motion, please.
Great. I will make the recommendation as written because Ms. Lawler has already read it out for me, so I appreciate you. So I will just recommend the motion as written.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. And I'd also just like to say how much I appreciate people coming out to support. And there's a little bit of a clunk with this one. I know when we saw it, I was thrilled. It just seems like a perfect assembly of things. And a little bit of clunk in the public around lack of consultation. And as staff has explained, we have to start somewhere by presenting an idea. We're always open to hearing from you, whether you write in or call us. And again, I appreciate you showing up. Delightful to see the young man here showing us who's going to be using the project. Thank you.
Here. Thank you. We have a motion, moved and seconded. I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. One step closer. Thank you very much. The next, we have a proposed zoning amendment and development variance permit for 2550 Queens Avenue.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members of the public. Oops. Let's get rid of this one. Thank you, Pascal. So good evening, Mayor and Council members of the public. For consideration tonight is a development proposal for 2550 Queens Avenue. So the proposal would allow for subdivision of the existing single-family lot into two parcels and then allow for development of two houses on the site. You can see a rendering provided by the applicant on the screen there that shows the two houses. So council will recall that there was a report brought forward last year by staff at a more preliminary stage. At the time, our staff recommendation was to deny the application. Council directed staff to proceed with processing the application and bringing the permit and bylaw forward. So attached to the staff report is the draft zoning amendment bylaw and the development variance permit. For consideration tonight is just to set the date for consideration of the zoning amendment bylaw. This project, because it doesn't include an official community plan amendment, it's actually prohibited from having a public hearing based on the provincial legislation, specifically the Local Government Act. And so at this point, the decision is just to set the date for consideration of the zoning amendment bylaw. If council was to adopt the bylaw, then we would bring back the development variance permit at a later date for council consideration. So here, here you can see the site outlined in purple on the aerial image there. It's just under 12,000 square feet in size, located in the Dunderave neighborhood. It's mid-block in the 2500 block of Queens Avenue on the south side. You can see that there. Currently, there's a one-story house on the site with driveway access from Queens Avenue. So as I said, the proposal would allow for subdivision of the property. You can see a plan showing the proposed subdivision there on the screen. And the zoning amendment's needed because the RS zone has a maximum site area in it. And you can see on the table on the bottom that just gives a summary of what's proposed versus what's permitted in the zoning bylaw. So for sites in RS 3, which this site is zoned, minimum site size is approximately 10,500 square feet. So for the two proposed lots, Lot A and Lot B, the site sizes are approximately 5,300 square feet and then approximately 6,700 square feet. Also, as I said, included with the proposal is a development variance permit. And the proposed homes are both two-story plus basement. They include a secondary suite and driveway access from the lane, which is then relocated from Queens Avenue, with a 2-car garage for each home. So for the proposed homes, there's 3 zoning variances proposed, and those are included in the development variance permit, and the table on the bottom also shows those. So one is for site width frontage, and so in the RS3 zone, the minimum frontage is 60 feet. Both lots are proposed at 41 feet. There's also a front yard setback variance proposed for the homes. So for Lot A, the front yard is proposed at 26 feet, and for Lot B, it's proposed at 20 feet. There's also the third final variance that's proposed is for basement height. In the zoning bylaw, some portion of basements and sometimes all of a basement might be exempted from floor area, but there's a regulation in the zoning bylaw that limits the maximum height of basement floors to 9 feet. So what's proposed here is a higher height for the basement floor of 10.2 feet, and that would allow for the entire basement to be exempted from floor area. Just in terms of the neighborhood context, you can see in that aerial image that shows a bit of a wider context of the surrounding houses in the areas. Some of the existing homes were built in the 40s and 50s. There were some homes that were originally built in the 40s and 50s but have been fully renovated and renewed. There are also some much newer homes in the area, so there's generally a mix. The sites in the surrounding area are all zoned RS3. And just in terms of the range of site sizes in the area, there are some lots that are further south that are zoned RS4 and RS5 that are smaller in size. But just within the more immediate surrounding area, within about 100 meters of the site, sites range in size from approximately a low of 8,300 square feet up to 18,000 square feet in area. And then in terms of site frontage, there's also a range from a low of approximately 64 feet up to 126 feet in width. In terms of policy considerations, so the applicant is bringing forward the application based on the official community plan policy 2.1.1 that does allow consideration of site-specific applications to enable development of smaller homes on smaller lots. The application also is required to respond and would, if it was approved, to the sustainable buildings policy, which would mean that the homes would achieve 0 carbon in step 5 of the BC Energy Step Code. As well, finally, the project does respond to the district's public amenity policy with a proposed community amenity contribution or CAC of $150,000. In terms of public engagement, prior to submitting the formal application some time ago in 2023, the applicant hosted a neighborhood meeting. And then before the council report last year, the applicant mailed out a further notice trying to gather feedback from neighbors. And then more recently, before council's consideration tonight, in January, the applicant hosted another neighborhood meeting. In terms of feedback received, it has been mixed, both in support and in opposition to the project. Noting that the majority of written feedback received directly by staff and council has been in opposition to the project. So comments in support have noted support for the positive change perceived to the neighborhood with the proposal, with the inclusion of more housing options, and then comments about how it was felt that it was aligned with neighborhood character. And then comments in opposition cited concern with the perceived negative impact on surrounding character and cited that the homes would not be in keeping with the size of homes and lots in the area. As well, there was concern with if this application was approved, the precedent that it could set for subdivision applications coming forward in the immediate area. As well, there's concern about a lack of green landscaping on the sites with the proposed homes. Also concern about the site not being suitable for subdivision and development of this kind due to its steep sloped nature. And then finally, concern about traffic and parking, specifically within the adjacent lane. So this is the recommendation that council can consider tonight to set the date for consideration of the bylaw. That's anticipated for April 14th. And if council set the date, also to direct staff to prepare notice and send out notice of the bylaw consideration. And then, as I said, this is a case where, based on the provincial legislation, the Local Government Act, this is prohibited from having a public hearing. So if council was to adopt the bylaw, then we would then bring back the development variance permit at a later date for consideration. So that concludes the presentation, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is the applicant going to make a presentation this evening?
There is no applicant presentation proposed. This item, as it's included under the part of the agenda, as it's setting a date for consideration, as I understand it, and Ms. Dallas could correct me if I'm wrong.
So this is only for consideration of that, and this is not the time for a presentation. That would come on the date. There will be a presentation at some time from the applicant?
Not as it stands, as the public would not be able to directly present to council, then the applicant it wouldn't be intended that the applicant would either.
Oh, wow. I don't like this new process. No. Okay. Thanks very much. I'll turn it over for council discussion and ask Councillor Thompson then if you wanted to make a motion.
I'd have a couple questions first, if that's
Yes,
okay. Can you be more specific about the traffic and parking concerns in the laneway, along with describing any improvements they're doing to the laneway?
Sure. So the applicant would be required to make improvements to have acceptable access to the lane for the two garages that are proposed. As you can tell from the site, that's where the lane ends. And so there is some improvement that is necessary to ensure that there's drivable width there to access the two garages. But currently, as I understand it, because the driveway is accessed on Queens Avenue, this is adding that access that doesn't currently exist for this or isn't currently utilized for this property. So it would change the access from currently on Queens Avenue to the lane.
Would they be able to park anywhere outside their carports?
Parking
in the lane?
Parking in the lane would not be allowed. It would only be on the property itself.
Okay. And permeability, and forgive me for not knowing, do we actually have permeability quotients that need to be met on each site? And this one meets it, I take it?
Yes, there is no variance proposed. Just to be aware through the Mayor to Councillor Thompson, that requirement is really just for the front yard area. So it's not required for the entire site for those permeability requirements. For the front yard, there's a maximum impermeable surfaces of 50%, and there is no variance proposed for that. It would be required to meet that requirement for the houses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So a couple, I have a few questions. So any single-family lot, if there was, this remained a single-family lot, someone can build 3 units on the lot, correct?
Through the Mayor to Councillor Gambioli, yes, 3 units.
With us, without us saying anything. So this would be essentially 4 units, right?
Yes, there's 2 primary units proposed along with a secondary suite for each home.
Okay, so how does the volume, the total of this proposal relate to the maximum that someone could do without coming to us?
Yeah, it is slightly different. So if you were to look, the district's regulations for single-family homes are different depending on the site size. So because this results in 2 smaller sized lots, there is additional allowance for floor area and for site coverage that goes above what you would be able to do under the existing zoning with the lot staying as is.
Right. So do you have those numbers or no?
Yes, so just to give a net number as opposed to a gross number, which is a bit hypothetical if you're looking at the existing lot, because we don't have a house design for that. The net floor area that would be permitted on the existing lot would be approximately 3,600 square feet. And then the net floor area on the 2 proposed lots is approximately 4,400 square feet. And then versus the site coverage, it's basically 30% versus 40%. So 30% on the existing parcel and 40% on the 2 proposed lots.
Okay. And just to be clear then, if we moved this to the next stage to be considered in April 14th, you're saying that the public wouldn't be allowed to speak at that time, so they would have had to send emails or submit responses at what would be an open house type of thing. Is that right?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, there is no more requirement for an additional open house between
Okay.
now and the bylaw consideration. The public could email council and staff directly during this time at any time about the proposal.
So that's how we would get feedback from the neighborhood. Sorry, you said that everyone within 100 meters would be notified.
That's correct. Through
Okay.
the notification requirement, yes. And there would also be a newspaper ad.
I see. Okay. Okay, no, sorry, one last question. We had a couple of applications that could be argued were a bit similar to this last year. One was on Burley Drive, right?
Was it Palmerston?
And the other was on Palmerston.
Palmerston.
So just generally speaking, can you sort of summarize how those ones compared to this one?
Sure, through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli again. Those ones, in looking at those sites, the proposed lot sizes were within the range in the immediate area in terms of site size, but also configuration. It's not just size, it's also looking at frontage and other considerations. But the site sizes it was one on Jefferson and one on Palmerston, were within the range of site sizes in the very immediate area as far as the subdivided site area.
So in other words, those were large lots for the area, for the neighborhood that were being divided into two, but then each lot was still within the average range.
That's correct.
This is not the case here. This is a normal sized lot being divided in half, wherein one of the lots is almost half the normal size and the other is sort of 2/3 of the normal size.
And that's based on looking at the very immediate context. There are sites within West Van, further to the south, that would be this site size of the two parcels. But
Yeah.
when we're looking at it and in planning, we're looking at the more immediate context of the site sizes and the streetscape character.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder.
Just a quick question, just sort of expanding on that a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, in the report, and you might have mentioned earlier as well, but just the one block below on Palmerston, the zoning is already different. Is that not correct?
That's correct. South of Palmerston, the zoning is different, and so the
So-
site sizes are different in that area.
But the ones on Palmerston are the same zoning as what's being applied for here, but just one block north.
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder, just as a clarification, the zoning isn't proposed to be changed for this lot as far as the RS3 zone. What's proposed for the zoning amendment is just an exception to the zone. So we're not proposing to take this site, which is in the middle of a block, and then rezone it to another zone that's a couple blocks away. We're just proposing to make an amendment that would allow for these parcels to subdivide.
Okay, but I guess my point is it would be consistent though with the zoning one block away south.
With those smaller zoned areas, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah. I won't deny that I'm uncomfortable with this proposal. There are a lot of variances. It's cramming an awful lot of density into those potential two lots. And, you know, this just takes me back to the whole conversation this province has gone through for the last many months. And some have settled into on Bill 44. And, you know, at the time I was quite vigorous in my opposition to it. And I look at it again today and I say, it strikes me as a very ill-conceived and potentially reckless piece of legislation that really doesn't look at neighborhood character and the environment that we are being told to protect. So we take this relatively small lot, divide it into two. We only have to give, what was it? Permeability is only required, I think it was 50% in the front yard. So when I look at the aerial shots of that and the homes around it, even with the green roof, it still doesn't provide for a whole lot of drainage on that particular site. Now, one could say this is only one property, but it does set an uncomfortable precedent. Number one, that we approve to put larger buildings on lots that are technically too small. And number two, others may come up with the same idea, in fact, many. And in light of the floods that we had in October, and we all saw what happens with the water flowing downhill, I really am struggling with giving variances to create larger buildings than the sites can allow.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Cassidy.
Well, this may be the time for questions, but I don't really have any questions. I'm completely opposed to this project. When I ran on both occasions, I've run for council, I ran on neighborhood character. And when people decide that they're going to put their roots down in this community, they do so for one reason, or many reasons, one of which is the quality of their life. This project is far too big. I've said it before. I've never voted for it. I did visit when the owner did come forward with make us a meeting at the community center. I did go and did rethink everything, but my mind is still the same. It's totally and utterly incongruous with the rest of the neighborhood. What you have mentioned earlier in the presentation, Ms. McGuire, is that these are older homes, but these are all older homes that people have taken the time, the trouble, and the money to renovate. So this is not a neighborhood in transition where, neighbors to the left, to the right, or wherever are going to be taking down their homes. So this is going to be a number one, a thumb in a hand. It's going to stick out. It's far closer than the other neighbors on that street. Queens Road is a very public street, unlike its neighbor to the south, which is Palmerston. So this will stick out. It's far too large for the lot. I've said it before. And not only are you going to have two people or two couples or two whomever living upstairs, you're going to have entities occupying the two secondary suites. And you have room for 2 cars per driveway, per garage, and you're going to have a lot more than 2 cars there because you're going to have a lot more than one family occupying those 2 places. So I think it's entirely inappropriate for this neighborhood. And so for all the negatives that have been stated when the public did come forward, I completely agree with that which they've had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I'll put the motion forward.
Sure, we can still speak to it. Councillor Thompson.
I think that's it. It's okay. So we move this along by recommending that proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010, amendment bylaw number 5379, 2025 be considered for the first, second, and third readings at the April 14th, 2025 council meeting scheduled for 6 p.m. in Municipal Hall Council Chambers and via electronic communication facilities, and that notice be given of the scheduled consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Just before calling the question, I joined Councillors Watt and Cassidy, and I think Gambioli as well, in serious concerns about this proposal. So I guess there's, once it goes to this stage, is there any way to make any amendments? My principal concern, I'm not opposed to having a few smaller homes, but the fact that they're identical is really inconsistent with the aesthetic of the street. And while I don't like to ever inject my personal aesthetic taste on others, I just think it's be a lot more attractive if they were distinguishable in some fashion. But I'll leave those comments. I'll vote tonight for it to go to the next stage, but with some real reservations on that point. Councillor Gambioli.
Well, I usually am not opposed to more density, but there's a lot of factors here and that are not going for it, I think. And, the design and the layout is very kind of urbanized, and it's not an urban area. It's not good transit, so it doesn't have that going for it. We've had more negative, quite a bit more negative than positive comments. Staff originally did not support this application in the beginning, but the majority of us kind of overruled that. So, it's got a lot going against it already. And I look at these zoning exceptions or variances, and they're just enormous. The other times we looked at something similar, they were very minor, and we've looked at in past councils where I've sat, we've looked at other variances for subdivision that were literally inches, like 1 or 2 inches on either side of the lot, and it turned into a big deal with the neighborhood. But this is, huge numbers of meters out of the norm. So I just, when we first looked at this, I was really shaky on this. I wanted to see the volume come down and something more interesting and appealing be created, and I don't see any changes in that regard. So I don't think it's worth staff's time and the proponent's time to continue with this the way it is proposed.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, so my question is for you, Mayor Sager. So you're not a fan, but you're inclined to push it forward.
Well,
I guess my question is to staff. So should that happen, that would be in the configuration that is here. It would be unlikely, I would think, that they would decide after we push this forward to reduce it and alter the look and all the rest of it.
No,
that would seem extraordinary.
That is a good question for staff. Is there an opportunity, if the applicant hears of these concerns, to make some amendments?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please.
So for the development variance permit that has the house plans attached, as those are, the proposed development variance permit is just included with the staff report tonight because it's a companion to the zoning amendment, obviously. But if council directed changes, then that could occur. It would extend the process because that revised development variance permit wouldn't be able to be brought back for some time. Likely because revisions would need to be worked on before that could be brought back. But as happened in the previous case where there was a public hearing prohibited, there can be changes made to the permit prior to council's consideration. This sounds a little bit more like a wholesale change, whereas in the most recent case of that, it was more design development that changed materials and changed, potentially ensured that landscaping was sufficient for screening. This is sounding a bit more substantive, and I believe would take some more time then for any revisions to be brought back.
Councillor Thompson.
We'll just continue with the questions, and I think I just missed what would have answered my question. It was mentioned that you didn't support this in the first go-around, and what has changed to have you come forward and support it now?
Through the mayor to Councillor Thompson, the report is being brought forward based on council's direction to process the application. The staff position on it, we're directed by council, so we brought the zoning amendment bylaw and the development variance permit forward. There were changes that the applicant has made since the time that council had the proposal before them last year. I was just going to look at my summary here. One of the changes was that the roof was changed from a more shed-like roof to a flat roof design. They eliminated the side yard variance that was previously proposed and then requested the basement height variance. And also proposed solar panels for the roof. Those are sort of the main substantive changes that occurred since the plans were included in the draft plans were included in the staff report last year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambill.
Just one other thing occurred to me. Somebody mentioned landscaping. I mean, from the rendering here, it's not very detailed, but there doesn't look like there's any landscaping. And because that green sort of area on the front is on top of a garage, I'm assuming that that's not, a very natural, a place where you could plant, significant trees or do any landscaping. So is there a landscaping plan?
Included with the plans that are attached to the draft development variance permit, there is landscaping proposed for the site, but the specific regulation that I mentioned before, it's really about the front yard area. It's not about the rear yard area. So there is no specific requirement for any single family property for, permeable area in the rear yard.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, when the original proposal was brought forward to council, the renderings and the designs did show landscaping. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm mistaken, but the view of the new homes from actually Queens, because they are down south and below the road surface, it is very limited viewing of the proposed homes. And in fact, I think the original renderings showed that there was a hedge along Queens. So essentially, you couldn't actually see the homes from Queens. Is that?
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder, due to the slope of the sites and the design of the homes, that the homes are quite a bit lower and not as visible. And there is a landscape plan included with the development variance permit that does show the landscaping that's proposed and required for the site.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Cassidy.
Does the landscape plan include an inordinately large hedge along Queens Avenue so that you cannot see a building which is completely incongruous with anything else on that street?
There is a hedge proposed for the Queens Avenue edge of the site. I couldn't confirm that means that you would not at all see the homes, but there is a hedge that would definitely screen the homes from view.
Right. And so Councillor Thompson asked in the previous iteration, it did not have staff support. And Councillor Thompson asked if this one did have support. And somehow or other I was endeavoring to read between your lines, and I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but I would surmise that it still does not have staff support.
That's correct.
Thank you. I have one more question. What is the point, may I ask, of taking this to the next step if we do not have sufficient support amongst, we've got 3 opposed as I can gander, and we have one who's, yourself, Mayor Sager, who isn't keen but is prepared to take it to the next step. What is the point of our wasting staff time and this individual's expectations and time if the chances of it not going forward are not reasonably solid?
Very fair question. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion fails. Okay, we'll move on to item number 11, proposed Fulton land rezoning. Sorry, do we have a presentation, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Ms. McGuire will provide the presentation, and Mr. Hawkins and I are available with Ms. McGuire to answer any questions.
Ms. McGuire.
I'll try and be brief. So good evening again. So for consideration is a proposed zoning amendment for district-owned lands in the 1500 block of Fulton Avenue. So the zoning amendment bylaw is attached to the staff report. The motion for consideration tonight is to set the date for consideration of the bylaw, not to actually consider the bylaw tonight. This is also a case where there is no official community plan amendment, and the zoning bylaw is consistent with the directions in the official community plan for this site. And so it's prohibited from having a public hearing. So as I said, the motion is just to set the date for consideration of the bylaw and to direct staff to send out notice of the bylaw. And this is coming from a closed council decision that recently was released, that staff be directed to proceed with preparing a zoning amendment bylaw for these 4 parcels that you can see the addresses of in the motion here, consistent with the specific directions for this site within the Ambleside apartment area within the official community plan. And so that's why we're here tonight with the zoning bylaw attached.
Thanks very much. Councillor Lambert. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I can stop if
No,
you want me to.
carry on. I'm sorry. I thought
No,
right.
I'll
Sorry.
try and be brief.
Just for members of the
Promise.
public, obviously members of council are very, very familiar with this. This
Okay.
is municipally owned property, but I fully understand. Please carry
I'll try
on.
and go quickly.
Thank you.
So here you can see an aerial image with the 4 parcels outlined in red. The site's located on the south side of the 1500 block of Fulton, immediately adjacent to the fire hall. This slide shows that there are many existing apartments in the area with various heights. You can see those on the slide. Here, this shows the 4 parcels in red in the aerial image, and the direction on the top is directly from the official community plan that allows consideration of more diverse and affordable forms of housing for sites in this immediate area, including strata, below market and market rental, and seniors housing up to 6 to 8 stories and up to 2.5 FAR, or floor area ratio. So the 4 sites combined are just under 28,000 square feet in size, and the proposed zoning bylaw does reflect that official community plan direction. So it's entirely consistent with the OCP. And just for consideration, at 2.5 floor area ratio, what that would represent in terms of square footage for potential building or development would be approximately 69,000 square feet in size. This zoning amendment bylaw would just propose to rezone the site. Council would then, at a subsequent date and subject to a subsequent process, be required to approve a development permit application, which would include the detailed design and would be required to comply with all form and character guidelines in the official community plan. Here, these next 2 slides, all these are showing, obviously not a development proposal for this site, but they're 2 examples of building massing. So these are simple building massing drawings, and they show 2 potential building massings. There could be many others. Of this one shows an 8-story proposal with a lower height on Fulton Avenue. This next one shows 2 5-story buildings. But as I said, these are just 2 examples. There could be many other examples that would that could show a form that would fit with the 2.5 FAR. So in terms of next steps, if council proceeds and adopts the zoning bylaw, the likely or expected next step would be for the district to issue a request for development proposals. And all of these steps of the process are entirely within council's hands. So then council could evaluate those proposals based on potential value, financial value to the district, the mix of housing proposed, and based on that, could then invite a development proposal to proceed. It would be at that stage that a detailed development permit would be required to be submitted. We'd review that against all applicable guidelines, and there would be consultation involved in that process. And then ultimately, council would be required to approve a development permit. So that concludes the presentation, and here is the recommendation for council to set the date for April 14th for the bylaw.
Thank
and
you.
give the
Thanks very much.
scheduled consideration.
Councillor Cassidy.
Ms. McGuire, under the 2.5 FAR, you had referenced 6 stories and you'd referenced 8 stories. Is 8 the maximum under 2.5? So if we wanted to, for example, marry this site optically and literally with the wall building further down the road, we would need to rezone for a higher density.
Maybe through the mayor to councillor
Well,
Cassidy.
right now you're saying under the 2.5, the maximum on the site would be 8 stories. So what will we be having to look at if we wish to go, for example, as tall as the wall center? Or not the wall center, the wall building on 15th and Esquimalt, I think it is.
So through the mayor to councillor Cassidy, I mean, if we were to proposed zoning like that wouldn't be consistent with the direction set by council through the LAP process.
Okay.
But that would be in council's hands if they wanted to consider higher height for this site, district-owned site.
Okay, so we would have an opportunity at a later date, should the council wish.
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, so the consideration for tonight is to set the date for actually first, second, third readings and adoption. So council could split those up if they chose to and consider an amended or modified bylaw if they wanted to consider more height. Also, the other consideration is that height is something that can be varied through a development permit. Now, so that could be subject to a future development permit consideration. But as I said, that direction in the official community plan is quite clear, and this zoning bylaw is entirely consistent with that in terms of the height limit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to my question, but I just want to be sure. So the OCP suggests more diverse and affordable options, but to be clear, that doesn't preclude market, strata, anything else. Anything could go there.
Through the mayor to Councillor Watt, yes.
Okay.
That's in fact included in the direction in the OCP that could be strata, market, residential.
Anything? Okay, perfect. It'd be great to see a variety of, proposals come forward and see what fits best. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli.
Okay, so just to make it really easy for the public to understand, because what I can foresee is if this is reported out, it could cause a lot of people to start lighting their hair on fire again. So just to clarify in very simple language, because I know it's easier for me to do that. This piece of, these are 4 lots that are currently zoned for single-family homes, which are what old single-family homes, very old, which is what's on them. In the meantime, we have created the first tranche of the Ambleside Local Area Plan, which took us 2 years to do with David with Mr. Hawkins and Bailey's help. And that has now overlaid the Ambleside Local Area Plan tower area with this zoning that you're proposing, the 2.5 FAR and 90 feet. So that's already been discussed, that's already been debated. That took us 1.5 years to get through that and approve it as a council. I'm going to call this kind of like a housekeeping maneuver, where we just agree that yes, that's what we said for this particular site. And that's why we have first, second, third reading and adoption on the same night. And we also don't have any public input that night either. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Right.
No
So
public hearing.
I'm going to kind of call this a housekeeping administrative thing, just so that people don't think that we're starting from scratch and we're all of a sudden taking, 4 old houses and making a huge tower. We've already had that discussion. We've already agreed, thanks to 1.5 years worth of public input, that that's what we want to do on that site. If we want to make it taller, that's a whole other discussion. But this is just putting, the crossing the T and dotting the I for this site. That's my interpretation of it.
I think that's
I'm
correct.
completely wrong?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, it's essentially making the zoning match the OCP
Yes.
for this site.
Yeah.
This is
okay.
consistent with everything
Thank you.
council's discussed through the whole OCP process. So I think you're quite right in drawing that out. So I'll ask, if I may, Councillor Cassidy.
So, Ms. Maguire, yes, I quite understand that which Councillor Gambioli so eloquently put forth. But what I want to make sure, or have the public understand, that there still could be the potential that we could go for greater height should the need arise for whatever reason.
That, through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, that decision is entirely within council's hands, and I laid out the mechanisms for how that could occur. To be clear, that's not the direction in the OCP for this area. That would be a council decision either to modify the zoning bylaw at this time to include higher height or to approve a variance that would allow for higher height, but that's not consistent with the direction in the OCP, just to be clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Lambert, could I ask for a motion, please?
Yes, Mayor Sager, I move the recommendation as written.
Thank you. Is seconded. Discussion further? Question, all in favor? Contrary, the motion's carried. On to bylaws, please. Housekeeping amendments, Councillor Watt, please.
I'd like to, do we have a lot here? No, we don't. Yeah, so I'd like to recommend that the proposed fees and changes bylaw number 5334, 2024, amendment bylaw number 5376, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Second that.
Discussion, question, all in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you. Is there any no new business tonight? Could I have a motion on the consent agenda items? Councillor Gambioli.
I'll recommend that the consent agenda items as follows be approved, items 14.1 through 14.4.
All of the items under 14.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Cassidy. Thank you. Call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you. And anybody like to make any reports? And Councillor Cassidy.
Well, I don't know if there's anybody in the community that does not know that I'm on the Liquid Waste Committee.
I think we all are.
Which has to do with one of our favorite subjects on the North Shore, which is sewage. And I've mentioned this a few times in this term on council, is that what you put down your drain is going to end up costing you in the long run. And the only thing that should go down your kitchen sink is water. So if you have milk that you haven't finished, pour it on your lawn, the protein in it, or pour it in your garden is very good for the flowers, or put it in your recycling composting bag, or put it in the bag where you have all your grass trimmings and such the like. But please do not put it down the drain. If you know anything about that singer who came from Bryan Adams, he had a big concert in Australia that he had to cancel because they had a major fat clog in their sewage system. So that is what happens to all these things. They coagulate and it costs a small fortune to repair. So water is the only thing that goes down your drain, please.
Thank you for that. Wonderful reminder, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Gambioli.
I was going to talk about the Tsleil-Waututh breakfast we had last Monday, but we already talked about it. Did we talk about it last week? Okay, so yeah, just double checking.
And I hope Councillor Snyder is going to just recognize the wonderful attendance at the Enhanced West Van event. Councillor Snyder.
Sure, I had my light on, yeah. Exactly what I was about to do. This week on Wednesday, I believe, actually all of council, except for Councillor Lambert, who had pressing issues to deal with, a pet injury, so he was unable to attend, but we, the rest of us all had the opportunity to attend the Enhanced West Vancouver Donor Appreciation Night. And it was really inspiring to see what went on and to hear some of the stories of those that have benefited from Enhanced West Vancouver. I think Enhanced West Vancouver is not a well-known entity amongst everybody in the public. And I really strongly encourage people that are out in the community that are looking for some activities or introductions to new people, or to find out what else the West Vancouver has to offer, because Enhanced West Vancouver has unbelievable programs, particularly for newcomers, for seniors, for youth, and just the stories that we had for those that have benefited from the monies and the funds that Enhanced West Vancouver has been able to put forward to programs was incredibly inspiring. And so I strongly encourage people to take a look at what Enhanced West Vancouver is all about. And if you're looking to make a pledge somewhere, again, it's a great cause. So I think that was a well-attended evening and very inspiring.
It was. Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Could I have a motion to receive the reports? Councillor Cassidy.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Watt, then seconded by Councillor Cassidy.
I didn't think I was moving it.
There we are.
It was Nora.
I'll call the question. All those in favor? Contrary carried. No, you were jumping the gun there a little bit, Councillor Cassidy. Now I'll call, but before we move for adjournment, I'm going to ask if there's any member of the public that wish to address council this evening. We're going to come out and see the paintings. We're going to come and see them right now. Councillor Cassidy will adjourn the meeting with a motion.
I want to recommend that the March 10th, 2025 regular council meeting be adjourned.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. I will second that. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Let's go look at the paintings.